Okay, good afternoon, folks. How do you feel today? Okay, welcome to the third session that it is called Five Fundamental Factors in Planning and Teaching Conversation in Class, okay? Good morning, Oreste. Good afternoon, sorry. Okay, we're gonna start. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna start. As you can see on the screen, we have the four speaking skills. As you can see there, we have fluency. I would like to listen to you. What do you understand by fluency?
Well, when it comes to fluency, is how you feel on your comfort zone to speak or write English or even another language.
Okay, that's pretty fine. We can also define as fluency like the facility that a second language learning has to develop the speaking in a correct and in a spontaneous way and demonstrate at the same time the degree of mastery of English language. That is fluency, you know? We have another the skill, the speaking skills, and is the pronunciation. As you know, the pronunciation is one of the most relevant elements in the communicative process in learning a second language, right? That in this case is English. Um, Also, we can affirm that pronunciation in the teaching of a second language is the factor that allows students to communicate more effectively and quickly with others. As you know, pronunciation is so important in the communicative process because if you pronounce very well the word, you can be understood by others, right? Then we have grammar. Grammar, I would say that grammar is the structure of a language, okay? We can also say that are the rules of a language. Grammar consists of syntax and morphology. I don't know if you remembered when you were taking the previous class in the last midterm that we were talking about syntax and morphology. That is related to grammar, okay? Then we have vocabulary section that I would say is a list of or collection of words that a language has. Okay, remember that if you learn more vocabulary, more extensive is gonna be your oral communications, right? In the previous class, the last Sunday, we were talking about some speaking activities, but today we're gonna combine listening and speaking. And I would like to listen from you, Oreste, by your own experience. Which activities do you think that is the more suitable for you for teaching listening and speaking? Okay. Franklin, you can answer, please participate, and Karen as well.
Sure. Can you please repeat the question? Hi.
Did you hear the question? By your own experience, which activities do you consider that bring the best results when we teach listening and speaking? You got some idea or do you have some activities in mind?
Well, as I have told, it depends on the people we are teaching to. So, for example, if we are talking to children or is kids, let's say, that are learning the language, the most suitable activity that we can do would be, I don't know, trying to make them that they hear songs like,
Right.
uh, you know, I can't remember which is the name of the song, but what I mean is that it's something that it's not going to make them get bored of the class. So they are going to be entertained, and they will at least understand one phrase or at least one word about the song.
Okay. I would like to listen another opinion.
Okay, in this case, I think for new learners to learn new vocabulary or new words, we can use pictures or even play games when it comes to teach little kids.
Okay, very good. Do you know that there are different types of activities, funny activities, right? And as some of you said before, that all depends on the level, the age of the learner that have and the level of the English. For example, we have the grocery store. I don't know if you have heard that activity. It is for listening and speaking. Grocery store means that you can work with a group and you start saying, I went to the grocery and a store to the grocery store and brought, if you are teaching, for example, fruits, you can say, I went to the grocery store and brought an apple. So the other student said the same sentence, I went to the grocery store and brought, but in this case, it's gonna mention the first fruit that the other student mentioned before and the fruit that the student is gonna say. It could be, I went to the grocery store and brought apple, that was the first one, and oranges, and so on. That is one of the best activities that you can comes to your mind, the previous topic that you were teaching before. Also, we have thumbs thumbs up and thumbs down. For example, if I say my hair is blue, a student can say or can make thumbs up if it is true. But if the answer is false, because my hair is black, they say or they make the mimics thumbs down. Okay, you understand the activities? Another important, and I would say that one of the most common activity for teaching listening is the moral good listening strategies like Simon says. That is very common. For example, when you say, if we are practicing comments, you can interact with your students by saying, Simon says, everybody stands up. So it's just listening. It's just to see if students, you can work with kids when you're teaching comments. It's just uh, to see if the student recognize the comment, like in this case, stand up. Simon says, everybody sits down. Okay, there are many activities, as I told you before, that you can use. All that can be adaptable, depends on the level of English that the learner has, or depending on the age that the student has. For example, in this, let me see, in this video, we have the top speaking games that you can use with kids or young learners. I recommend you to watch when you got time there. And here we have the four speaking skills. They are the same one that I was explaining at the beginning, that are fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. It's so important to take into account these sub skills of speaking And here, as you can see, we have some activities to promote speaking. So we have discussions, we have role plays, simulations, information gaps, brainstorming. The brainstorming, it can be very useful when you're introducing a new topic, okay? Storytelling. Storytelling is very interactive. For example, in a previous, for example, if you were teaching past simple, you can start saying a past experience that you had, and a student had to complete the sentence by adding another word. That is totally storytelling, right? So you can use interviews to see how much words a student knows, and the story completions, okay? Over here, we have what is speaking skills and its types. As you know, speaking skills are the skills, okay, that give us the ability to communicate effectively. Then we have the basic types of speaking. We have responsive. Responsive says the tasks include interaction and task comprehension, but at the limited level of short conversation, standard greetings, small talk, requests, and comments. We have interactive. The length and complexity of the interaction are more in interactive tasks than in responsive ones. The task sometimes includes multiple exchanges and or multiple participants. So this one can be classified depending on the level that the learner has. For example, responsive or imitation, that is another types of speaking that we have in this language. Imitation can be introduced in A1, okay? Responsive could be in A2, and interactive can be upper A2 or lower B1 for students that have B1 level. I have a question for you. Have you ever taught English in some schools or private or public ones?
No, never.
No yet?
No. The closest experience that I had was teaching to my brother, but I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, that counts, because remember that it's an informal way, because you are not using an structure, syllabus, didactics to carry out that program with that person. But it's in an informal way that counts, because you're gaining experience. What about the rest? Do you think that when you get a chance to teach English, is it gonna be hard for you? Difficult? What do you think? I would like to listen to another student.
Well, I think that when you start doing something that is something to you, it's start kind of difficult. But when you start doing the job, well, comes easier.
Yeah. Remember that nowadays English is taught in a communicative way. It's not like many years ago that English were taught. For example, in 2020 or less than 2020, English was one of the method that was most used was the grammar translation method, where the teacher comes to the classroom with some books and say to the student, okay, folks, or a student, go on book, open your book and go on page number 40, for example, and we have a reading comprehension there. Try to rewrite that reading on your notebook and answer the question. That was the class. So boring,
Welcome.
you know? Nowadays,
Welcome.
those things has been changing. English is taught in a communicative way. Let's see here. Do you remember the factors, the first factors that we were seeing in the previous class? This is the factor number 2, that it's related to the curriculum, program, or a school. I would like to listen to you. What is curriculum for you? Or a program or a school? As you know, curriculum is something formal, right? That an institution or a school has, or we need to program that curriculum. It's in the way, it could be the structure of the sequence of the subjects that you're gonna teach based on the students' needs. As Franklin was mentioning before, that he was teaching, but in an informal way. For example, he considered that the first topic could be the present simple, but he didn't have an structure. That is in an informal way. But when we have a structure, when we have a syllabus, so that is curriculum, okay? We have the curriculum, we have the program, the syllabus, are all the subjects that we have that is gonna be taught in a class. Let me see something important that I was reading here, and is, okay, here, the discussion and practical application for your teaching. As I told you before, when you have a program or when you make a program for teaching English, this has to be related to the students' needs, okay? Because you're gonna notice where the student have some difficulties, and you're gonna work on that, right? These are another videos that I would recommend you to watch. The best listening and speaking activity is just for listening and speaking. And then we have another video that is related to professional English expressions that you should know, okay? For ending this class, folks, I would like to listen to the 6 participants that we have in this session. And I got a question for you. Let me see. I have a question for you. And it is this. If you got a chance to teach English in a public or private schools, which activity or techniques would you use first for teaching the verb be? This is gonna be the last question, okay? And I would like to listen to the 6 participants that we have here. Did you hear the question? The question is, if you got a chance to teach English in a public or private schools, which techniques or activity would you use for teaching the verb be?
Hi, teacher. I'm gonna go first.
Okay, very good.
Um, I think that the first thing or activity will be like a um diagnostic test. Try to ask the students if they know what they know about verb be, and they can start giving that info. Then I can go ahead with some activities, some games, and at the end I could explain the grammar section, how the verb be works.
Okay, that's pretty fine. That's pretty fine. It's so important to identify what level every student has, okay? Another opinion? This is just for ending the session, right? We have 6 participants. Okay, folks, nobody wants to participate. Just let me tell you something, that participation in this case is so important, because remember that we have an attendance for this class, and if you don't connect to the Zoom session, and if you don't participate, you know what happened then, okay? Um, just let me tell you something, that don't forget to work on the tasks that we have on the platform, because remember that we have a deadline for each activity there, and get prepared for the next session. And if you get a chance next session to answer this question, okay, we're gonna discuss at the beginning of the session the same question, because I would like to listen to all of you. I just heard to Cindy Agar, and see you next session, okay? If you don't have question, this is gonna be all for this session, and see you next one.